Alrighty, so we have what should be the new main event instead of TJ versus Corey Sandhagen. It's Michelle Waterson versus Marina Rodriguez. I believe this is going to be the main event. If not, I've wasted a lot of time on this fight, so hopefully it is. But yeah, so it's Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterson. And about Marina, I'll show you my tweet. Look at this. So I say, I'd love for Marina Rodriguez to get a fight book soon, and not against a wrestler. I think I got both my wishes here, and that was the start of April. So, and I'll show you, it's not just a one-off. Alright, bunch of tweets that didn't get any likes. Where is it? There we go. So this was at the start of March, where I asked where Damir Ismagulov was, and then he got a fight booked like 2 weeks later, and he hadn't fought for like 2 years. Now he's on the May pay-per-view. So I'm not saying I have a gift or I have superpowers or whatever, but that's 2 from 2. So if you want me to hit up any fighter, well, just call for any fighter that hasn't fought in a while. Just hit me up and I'll send it out. Alright, so we'll get back into the fight. So Marina has a 3-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. I think the fight being at 125 definitely favours her. She's the much bigger woman. And, Michelle's naturally an atomweight. She's bulked herself up into the strawweight division, but naturally she is a 105er. And she is one of the smaller strawweights in the division. And Marina is probably one of the bigger ones. But what Waterson does bring into this fight is 5-round experience. She's fought in a few main events, so she's had 5-round experience before. Can't say the same for Marina. I think the momentum is with Marina a little bit more. I mean, I think she's like 5-1 or something in the UFC with a couple of draws somehow. But she could easily be 6-0 in the UFC if a few decisions went away, if she didn't get 10-8'd in a few rounds. She's been in close fights pretty much every time out. She's been versing solid competition. For Michelle Waterson, she's around 500 in her last 8 fights, I believe. I think it might be 4-4, might be even split. So, momentum, I'd probably say it's in the favour of Marina Rodriguez. Alright, so we'll break down the striking. So Marina, she's got that Muay Thai foundation. She throws a lot of feints. She likes to be on the front foot. She's very aggressive. She's very vicious in there. And Michelle Waterson, on the other hand, she comes from that karate foundation. So she's more of a point fighter. She likes to use her lead leg to keep a fair amount of distance between her and her opponent and pretty much just score points on the outside. She has a nice inside low kick. Her lead leg, just flicks it up like a jab. I think Dominic Cruz said, I think that describes it pretty well. Inside low kick, lead leg body kick, lead leg high kick at an end of a combination, switch high kicks. She can pretty much, throw any kick from either stance. She'll like to switch stance, throw a side kick from southpaw, and then push kick in orthodox, axe kick in orthodox, etc, etc. So all these techniques, they're mostly just point scoring techniques. A lot of them are just slapping, don't do a huge amount of damage. And Marina, on the other hand, she's looking to put damage on you. She's looking to circle you into her straight right. Her straight right is probably a go-to punch. Her intercepting straight right as the opponent is closing distance, that's the one that she caught Amanda Hebus with. But she can get a little predictable with the right hand because she doesn't throw the left hand too much. Mostly it's the right straight or the right overhand, so people or just fighters get the read of that, they start level changing underneath and she just gets taken down, and you don't really want to stand with her, so you see her getting taken down in a lot of fights and getting controlled on the mat, but we'll get into that later. For my Karate Hottie, she has her hands low off the clinch break, and she also has that side stance which she'll use to evade the clinch. That side-on karate stance. And she'll, in close range, that side-on stance, that's just kind of asking to be head kicked. And that's what Rose did to her. So I think they were in close. I think maybe even in the clinch. And then they broke the clinch, or they broke boxing range, and then Rose flicked up a head kick and dropped her. And, Marina, she does the same thing. She'll look to throw a head kick off the clinch break. And, her combinations are very fluid, so she'll mix in the head kick in combinations as well. And if she sees you leaning in one direction or the other, she'll flick up the head kick. And, I think she hit someone with that, Calvillo, when Calvillo was trying to clinch a lot. And then every time off the clinch break, Mahina would, go for that high kick off the clinch break. So Michelle does need to be worried about that because it is what has dropped her in the past. And also, once you do close the distance on Marina, she looks to get the Muay Thai plum clinch. She'll go knees to the body, knees to the head, mix in some elbows. Alright, so we'll get into the grappling where the fight gets quite interesting. So Marina, we know her struggles against wrestlers and grapplers in the past. She lets opponents get double unders on her really easily. And Michelle, a lot of her takedowns do come from the clinch, so she'll be looking to get those double unders. And then once she's in the body lock, she'll look for the outside leg trip or a head and arm throw just in the clinch. And her takedowns aren't the prettiest thing I've ever seen. Also, she doesn't set up a lot of her takedown entries. But all she needs to do really in this fight is get into the clinch and then look for, her trip takedowns and her throws in the clinch. Marina, when in the clinch, she looks to frame off to create space and then look for knees, elbows, quite an energy inefficient method to defend takedowns in my opinion. And just if I could sum up her takedown defense, pretty much her takedown defense is offense. She looks to land knees, land elbows, really try and punish you for, try to take it down. On the mat, so for Karate Hottie, she looks to take the back when the opponent turns to get back to her feet. Marina doesn't even really look to get back to her feet, so she may not have that opportunity until later in the fight when there's maybe a bit of urgency from Marina to get back to her feet. But basically, Marina, she can be a little comfortable off her back. She looks for wrist control and elbows off bottom. They can be quite vicious. They really damage Color Esparza's face up a little bit. Also, she'll go for an armbar or triangles off bottom. But yeah, as I said, she can be a little too comfortable off her back. She can even lock her guard at times, which is never really advisable if you want to impress the judges. And also, once you pass her guard, she's not as effective. And you can pass her guard quite easily. How these guys win fights? So for Marina, she's vicious. She's very aggressive on the feet. Also in the clinch. Also, she's got power for the weight class. I was saying this even before the Hebas fight. She hits different to other strawweights. Like, normally strawweights don't hit that hard. They don't have a lot of snap or pop behind their punches, but Marina actually has a fair bit of pop and a fair bit of snap, and you can tell when she connects, it's different to other strawweights. Also, just the aesthetic damage that they do, the superficial damage they do to the face, like her elbows and her punches, can also win her fights as well. Right, so how Michelle Waterson wins, she's well conditioned. I believe the short notice fight favors her because she's always in shape. She doesn't have to cut too much weight. Also, she's tough as nails. She's very hard to put away, and she's quite durable. So how these guys lose fights? So for Michelle Waterson, I think it's when she gets a step up in competition. So talk about the Rose Namajunas fight, the Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight, the Color Esparza fight. When she moves up a little bit, you can really kind of tell the difference in the striking and the stand-up. And I think Marina's win over Amanda Ribas is better than any win on Michelle's record. I think the best record on Michelle's record might be Angela Hill, I guess. So yeah, I think that win over Ribas is better than any win on Michelle's record. Also, she's undersized for 115, as we talked about before, and she kind of struggles with the physicality of the bigger women in the 115 weight class. And that's what Marina Rodriguez happens to be. But what Marina does have is very poor takedown defense and also a poor get-up game. And the grappling tendencies that we discussed before, i.e. like being too comfortable off her back, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if that's going to change because she's been at the same Muay Thai gym in Brazil for her whole career. And every fight, pretty much her opponent targets her lack of ground game and a lack of takedown defense. And it hasn't improved up until this point in her career. So I don't know if it's ever going to improve because she's at the same gym. She had success with the knockout of Ribas, but her grappling deficiencies still were very, very on display in that fight. So I don't know if they're ever going to work on it. Alright, past the victories for these two. So for Michelle Waterson, obviously look to exploit that lack of ground game, look to get it to the mat. Use constant level changes if she's not... Well, look to change levels and get into the clinch. If she's not going to throw too much offense and throw much offense off the clinch break, then look to just level change, get it to the clinch as often as you can and look for your trips from there. If she's too concerned about defending the takedown that she's not going to throw her own knees or elbows back, then just keep threatening the clinch and keep threatening the takedown and the clinch. Also, once you do get her down, look for half guard. Don't sit in her guard because that's where she's, semi-dangerous. And then once you do that, look to advance to mount, but keep a strong base and then wait for her to turn so she gives her back. Also, take the back in the clinch, or if you happen to get the body lock in a scramble or anything like that, just look to take the back and maybe look for a trip from there. Just immediately go to the back and look to dominate from there, I guess. Look for a submission. Alright, so for Marina Rodriguez, on the feet, look to back her up near the cage so it's harder for her to level change. Also gives you space and also gives you distance between yourself and the cage to stuff the driving trip takedowns of Waterson. Also gives you a lot of room to, adjust your balance and all that kind of stuff. Also look to keep the forward pressure on and also keep advancing forward. Advancing forward, they'll keep her moving quickly on the back foot. You don't want to get too predictable with it because she will level change, go for a double leg. Just keep the combinations brief, but do keep the, forward bursts coming, just because that keeps her on the back foot, doesn't let her set her base for her karate kicks and all that kind of stuff. Also, use that teep kick, but throw it to the lead leg of Michelle Waterson, so that kind of stops the lead leg offense for the moment anyway, and then she'll start trying to check it, she'll start thinking about it a lot, and her lead leg offense will slow from there. Also look to feint that kick, start feinting the kick, start feinting the knee, and just get her really reacting to you. And if she does go for a lead leg kick or, one of those karate kicks, you can return with a leg kick as she's resetting her base, and you can try and kick her harder than she kicked you. Also look for the slide too when she does advance. When she does want to get into the clinch, go hard with the knees, like when she looks to clinch. Try and make her not want to clinch up with you again. So go hard for the knees, try throwing her around a little bit, elbows. Look for offense off the clinch break, like high kicks, as we talked about before. And if she tries to change levels and go for a takedown, if you stuff a takedown, look to punish her, look to get on top, use straight punches, but don't hang out too long on the ground because she is quite tricky on the ground. She's dangerous off her back even. So yeah, look to keep standing in her guard, just rain down straight punches, but don't hang around there too long. Just look to land some quick damage and get out of there. Also, if you do get taken down and get put on your back, don't accept bottom position for too long. When off your back, look to lock her up with your guard and then blast elbows until she gives you enough space that you can maybe put the feet on the hips, push off, and look to get back to your feet. Alright, so how I see the fight playing out. Alright, so I actually really like this fight. I've said before that Marina is the dark horse in the division. If she would only learn some goddamn takedown defense, she'd be a real serious contender in my opinion. I think, a lot of people are saying this card sucks. Like, I think it's a great card. And I think, they're saying, another Michelle Waterson 5-rounder. Nah, I think this is going to be a Marina Rodriguez main event. I think there's going to be a Marina Rodriguez 5-rounder. And, against Hebus, you could see Marina was anticipating the level change of Hebus. She was cognizant that was going to be the game plan. So there's a little bit of improvement there. And she was backing up, only throwing singular strikes. The first combination she threw, though, Hebus level changed and then took it down and controlled her for the rest of the round. But, the second round started advancing, only throwing singular strikes. So she did, she was aware that she doesn't want to get taken down. But overall, she has good distance control, but she can get greedy as she tries to land damage on opponent, tries to, bum rush her maybe into the clinch, throws too many knees in the clinch and, gets taken down by trips. Hebus, Esparza and Calvillo are much better wrestlers than Waterson. Not to mention she smashed Esparza from bottom and on the feet. I thought the ref and the judges were against Marina that night. And Waterson, she is a bit like Esparza on top. If she doesn't look to pass guard, if she looks in your guard, she's not going to do too much damage. She's just going to kind of, lay and pray, really. She doesn't have devastating ground and pound or anything like that. So if Marina can lock the guard and start, teeing off with elbows, she could maybe sneak around, but it isn't the most advisable game plan to use. Waterson's takedowns aren't the best, but she probably only needs to land one a round, just because Marina's get-up game is zero, pretty much. I can definitely see her getting a few in this fight because it's not hard to get Marina down. But Marina does have a decent guard and she will look for offense off bottom. As we've seen, it hasn't been too successful for her in her UFC career, so hopefully she works on her get-up game. But this short notice fight probably doesn't give her a lot of time to work on it. But I hope she's been working on it since the Hebas fight. But if you look to pass her guard, it gets much easier to control her. Like, it's absurd how Marina has had 2 wins taken away from her, where she should have won, but she just got dominated on the mat. She got 10-8'd. Like, you can't let that happen twice. It's crazy that that's happened twice, and she's had 2 wins turn into draws. So I really hope she's worked on that. Having said that, Marina will be stronger in the clinch, and she will be getting her offense off, like knees, elbows, in my opinion. I think she'll be able to do that on the smaller Michelle Waterson. In the stand-up, I think Marina will dominate. Even with the takedown threat of Waterson, she'll be landing the much more meaningful blows. All the visible damage will be showing up on Waterson, not Rodriguez. She'll be walking her down, showing no respect for the striking of Waterson. Michelle Waterson, she's accustomed to participating in these like tit-for-tat, point fighting type fights, with other mid-tier strawweights. That's kind of the fight they generally have on the feet. There isn't really too many power punches or people who look to be super aggressive, but that's what she's got here. And there isn't too many women in the division that will do that. And if, Michelle can't get her takedowns going, I think it's going to be a rough night for her. Just like the Rose fight, the Rose Namajunas versus Michelle Waterson fight, where Rose, she has very good distance control, and I think that was giving Michelle fits on the feet. And she was pretty much tagging Michelle every time she tried to close distance. So it was a very tough fight for Michelle, but Marina doesn't have the ground game that Rose does, but I think if the fight plays out on the feet, it will look similar to that fight. I feel like, because I'm going to bet Marina probably, if the odds are decent. I feel like if you bet Marina, it can either go one or two ways. Either very frustrating, like she's getting taken down and controlled on the mat, or on the feet where Marina is dominating and I don't even have to break a sweat. So I'm hoping it's the second one, but we'll have a look at the lines. I haven't looked at them yet. So let's have a look. Alright, so this is Parimatch. This is a Russian-Ukrainian bookie. This is the only site that has odds for this fight at the moment, because I guess it hasn't been confirmed by anyone really that it's official. So, yeah. This is what we got at the moment. So it's $1.57 for Marina Rodriguez. I think that translates to minus 175 for the US guys. So yeah, I think that might be a little bit high, just because Marina does have a lot of holes in her game, so I'm not willing to pay too much juice on her. But if she can keep the fight standing, I think it's very heavily in her favour, and she is better on the feet, but, I think if you're Waterson, you've got to come in with a wrestling heavy game plan, and I think she's going to do that, and she's probably going to manage to get Marina down a few times. And, it could get hairy when she's on the mat. Like, she could just get a guard pass like nothing, give her back, rear naked choke just like that. So, I don't mind taking a stab at, like, Michelle Waterson submission for, like, around, if you can get over $8 or plus 700, it might be a bit less than that. I'm hoping to get around that price. Because, if Michelle gets some takedowns early, and she starts having some success early, could lead to a more urgent Rodriguez later on in the fight, and maybe she'll make a mistake on the mat, and she'll probably do that. And Michelle, she's a very good submission artist. If I were to bet Marina, I would wait till she gets to around $1.69 or minus 145, because, yeah, I'm not going to pay too much juice, because she does have a lot of holes in her game. But yeah, I do think Marina wins. I think she gets it done by decision.